This is every Unsolved SpongeBob Mystery Explained. Starting off with what happened to the Krusty Krab 2. You see, during the opening of the 2004 SpongeBob movie, we find out that Mr. Krabs wants to make even more money from his cash cow, and thus opens a second Krusty Krab restaurant.
Hello, I like money.
What inspired you to build a second Krusty Krab right next door to the original?
Money.
With the Krusty Krab 2 playing a central role in the movie, as not only does SpongeBob lose the race to become its manager, but Plankton becomes so jealous at all of Mr. Krabs' success that he frames him for stealing Neptune's crown before putting the entirety of Bikini Bottom under a mind control device, simply to steal all of the customers away from the Krusty Krab 2.
It's evil. It's diabolical. It's lemon-scented! This Plan C can't possibly fail!
However, this ultimately fails, and at the end of the movie, the Krusty Krab 2 is once again up and running. Which begs the question, how come we've never seen the Krusty Krab 2 ever again? Well, this is highly debated, with some fans of SpongeBob speculating that the Krusty Krab 2 was simply too hard to run. I mean, hey, SpongeBob and Squidward can hardly run one Krusty Krab, let alone two.
It'll go right to your thighs.
My thighs?
And then you blow up.
With other fans speculating that this expansion simply was too much too soon, and the Krusty Krab 2 went bankrupt, which honestly makes a lot of sense. Although my personal theory is that Mr. Krabs was using the Krusty Krab 2 in order to launder money. But of course, let me know what you think happened to the Krusty Krab 2 in the comments down below. And moving on, our next Unsolved SpongeBob mystery is who is Pearl's real mother. You see, as many people have pointed out over the years, it really doesn't make any sense that a whale could be the daughter of a crab. Well, that is, unless Pearl is adopted.
Mother Pearl!
However, in the official SpongeBob trivia book released in 2000, there's an incredibly interesting part where it's stated that Pearl simply takes after her mother, and that Mr. Krabs is indeed her biological father. With this of course raising the question, why have we never seen Pearl's mother? Well, this is where things get interesting, as there have been many theories online that the meat of Pearl's mother is used to make Krabby Patties, whereas many other people believe that Pearl's mother simply left Mr. Krabs for being too cheap. And honestly, who could blame her?
Breathe on your own time. I don't pay you to breathe.
You hardly pay us at all.
Although, by far the most interesting part about this is that the show's creator Steven Hillenburg stated before he sadly passed away that there was actually going to be an entire 20-minute season 5 episode detailing Pearl's mother's background story in complete detail. However, the SpongeBob team then decided to scrap this episode so that the mystery of Pearl's mother will forever remain. So yeah, it truly looks as though we'll never find out who Pearl's mother actually is. However, our next SpongeBob mystery is a little more straightforward, and that is, how did SpongeBob and Patrick even become friends in the first place?
Thought of something funnier than 24.
Let me hear it.
25.
Well, the answer to this can be found in the iconic Season 1 episode SB129, in which, after being relentlessly annoyed by SpongeBob and Patrick, Squidward then seeks refuge in the Krusty Krab freezer.
Oh, Squidward! Squidward!
However, after accidentally freezing himself and ending up 2,000 years in the future, well, then Squidward completely panics and then rushes to enter a time machine, only to wind up sending himself back to the caveman era.
Wow, primitive. That's sort of an old world charm. Wow. I guess this is before manners were invented.
And this is where we find out the answer to the question of how did SpongeBob and Patrick become friends. As well, SpongeBob and Patrick have been friends all the way back since they were Neanderthals. I mean, hey, even in the Neanderthal era, they're still playing games with each other, even if these games are incredibly stupid. And funnily enough, it's actually Squidward who ensures that SpongeBob and Patrick will remain friends for generations to come, as he then intervenes in them torturing themselves by giving them a pair of jellyfishing nets, which then starts SpongeBob and Patrick's tradition of jellyfishing, which they carry on to this very day.
Firmly grasp it! That'll do it.
And so, our next SpongeBob mystery is how old actually is SpongeBob? I mean, in the aforementioned episode, we quite literally see SpongeBob transcending time and space and becoming thousands of years old. However, most fans believe that this is not SpongeBob's true age, as all the way back in Season 1 Sleepy Time, we see on SpongeBob's boating license that he was actually born on the 14th of July 1986, which, funnily enough, would make SpongeBob only 13 years old when the series first came out, as well as making him 18 years old at the time of the SpongeBob movie, which honestly makes the storyline of SpongeBob being too immature to run the Krusty Krab 2 a lot more believable.
And to be a manager, you have to be a man. Otherwise, they'd call it kidager. You understand, Idger? I mean, you understand?
I guess so, Mr. Krabs.
And on top of this, with SpongeBob being born in 1986, this means that he will turn 39 this year, although they say that you stay frozen at the age that you become famous. So perhaps SpongeBob will remain 13 mentally forever. And swiftly moving on, our next SpongeBob mystery is quite possibly the greatest mystery in all of animation. You see, people have been trying to figure out the Krabby Patty secret formula since the show's inception in 1999, with the ringleader of this operation, of course, being Plankton.
Plankton! Crabs! Plankton! Crabs!
SpongeBob!
You see, right from season 1 of SpongeBob, Plankton has tried every dirty trick under the sun to find out what the Krabby Patty secret formula truly is, with these attempts including building his own robot, putting himself inside of a ketchup bottle, exploiting SpongeBob's kindness with the fun song, and of course, who could forget, turning the entire Krusty Krab into babies.
Everyone say your ABCs! Now when you turn into babies, you stay babies!
However, by far Plankton's greatest attempt to steal the formula comes from Season 3's Plankton's Army, where after once more having one of his attempts foiled by Mr. Krabs, Plankton then goes on the all-out offensive by enlisting his entire family, which, if you didn't know, consists of millions of plankton.
They're here! Welcome, brethren!
Hey, look here, buddy. It's Cousin Plankton.
And despite these family members not being quite as sharp as Plankton had envisioned, Plankton's family is still more than enough manpower to completely surround the Krusty Krab.
Give me the secret formula or I'll destroy the Krusty Krab!
Ah, you and what army, Bug?
What army? What army? Look around you, crabs!
And from this point, Plankton's family then storms the Krusty Krab with ease, before trapping Mr. Krabs in a toilet and breaking into his safe, thus, once and for all, stealing the Krabby Patty's secret formula.
Hot dog!
However, in a hilarious turn of events, it turns out that the secret ingredient to the Krabby Patty is actually plankton, which, as you can imagine, doesn't exactly go down too well with Plankton or the rest of his family.
4 heaping pounds of freshly ground plankton?
I warned you.
Although, this turns out to be nothing but a hoax from Mr. Krabs to scare Plankton away, with this then causing fans of SpongeBob to ask, what is the real secret ingredient of a Krabby Patty? Well, according to SpongeBob, it's love.
The secret ingredient is love.
Who's been screwing with this thing?
However, more cynical viewers of the show have pointed to the secret ingredient being crab meat. As well, there isn't a single other crab in Bikini Bottom. Although, if you ask me, the Krabby Patty secret formula is a lot like the Coca-Cola secret formula, in that it's nothing more than a successful marketing tool to get the residents of Bikini Bottom talking about Krabby Patties and, of course, giving Mr. Krabs more money.
Money.
But, of course, let me know in the comments, what do you think the Krabby Patty secret formula is? And so, moving on, our next SpongeBob mystery is how can there be fire underwater? With this mystery first being explored in Season 2's Life of Crime, after SpongeBob and Patrick steal a balloon and then flee from Bikini Bottom.
Hi there. Hey! Don't you want a free balloon? It's National Free Balloon Day!
He's on to us!
And once the pair have fled from Bikini Bottom, they then sit around and open fire, before Patrick, of all people, questions the logic of having a fire underwater.
Hey, if we're underwater, how could there be a...
And this isn't the only time that SpongeBob has been self-referential about having a fire underwater, as in Season 3's Party Pooper Pants, Patchy the Pirate sends SpongeBob an invitation to come to his party. However, of course, since SpongeBob lives underwater, this invite gets completely ruined, which causes SpongeBob to then poke fun at this, whilst also then breaking physical limitations himself by burning the invite.
Whoever sent this obviously has no idea about the physical limitations of life underwater. Well, might as well throw these in the fire.
And this has made people ask, how can there be a fire underwater? Well, fans of SpongeBob have debated this question on forums, Reddit threads, and Discord chat rooms for years. However, the most likely answer is that it's just some good old-fashioned cartoon logic, and thus why the show is willing to make fun of it so often. And so, before we get onto our final Unsolved SpongeBob mystery, our honorary mystery is what happened to King Neptune's appearance. You see, during the early seasons of SpongeBob, we always saw King Neptune with luscious long hair and a chiseled physique. Which made sense, because he was always a tough king that ruled with an iron thumb.
You shall be tested with a challenge!
Bring it on! SpongeBob can handle it!
However, when the SpongeBob movie came out in 2004, we saw a far different version of King Neptune, as this version was far more insecure, with a balding head, and a physique that was, let's just say, not exactly fit for a king. Unless, of course, that king was Henry VIII.
And between you and me, my hair is thinning a bit.
Oh, Your Highness, I'm sure it's not that noticeable.
And this isn't even the only time that King Neptune's appearance has been changed, as in Sponge on the Run, Neptune once again had his look completely remodeled, with this version getting a lot of backlash from fans as it just looks so much stranger than the other two, with this begging the question, why has Neptune changed so often? Well, the answer to this is unknown, but the most likely case is that the SpongeBob writers needed a compelling plot for the SpongeBob movie, and thus decided to make King Neptune balding for a funnier storyline. And well, ever since then, it's just stuck.
All right.
And so, for the moment you've all been waiting for, our final SpongeBob mystery is what happens to SpongeBob in the future. And honestly, this mystery is incredibly interesting, as we first see the answer to this question in Season 1's SB129, after Squidward is sent 2,000 years into the future and is confronted by the future version of SpongeBob, who, funnily enough, is called Spongetron and has 486 different clones.
Just ask my clones. Spongetron's X, Y, and Z.
Are the other letters of the alphabet involved here?
Sure, all 486 of them.
However, this is far from the only time that SpongeBob's future has been explored, as in the season 5 episode Spongehenge, after SpongeBob grows tired of jellyfish clinging onto his musical pores, he then runs off into a cave and seeks a life of solace, which, let's just say, doesn't exactly go too well.
Can I confess something? Because I know you'll understand. I have this problem. I seem to attract jellyfish. How do you handle a thing like that?
And so, in a last-ditch effort, SpongeBob goes all out to get rid of the jellyfish by building massive statues of himself, so that the jellyfish have something to latch onto that isn't him. With this working out so well that thousands of years into the future, SpongeBob's creations still live on.
All we know is the genius of their design has caused the annual migration of jellyfish to their wondrous tomb.
And the final time that we see SpongeBob's future is in season 14's PL 1413.
How's it hanging? Thanks for stopping by. You dig?
However, in a rather hilarious turn of events, this turns out to merely be a hologram of SpongeBob, with the real SpongeBob now being a transparent cube on wheels. And yes, he is equally as annoying to Plankton as he always was. And so, this is every Unsolved SpongeBob Mystery Explained. And let me know in the comments, what is your favorite SpongeBob mystery?